In today's team selection video for FPL Game Week 25, we're going to talk about tripling up on Arsenal assets for their double game week, and do I currently have the best triple up in the game? We're also going to talk about how I could use my one free transfer and why I keep captaining Bruno Fernandes. So, let's get into this. Welcome back to the FPL Mogs YouTube channel and welcome to today's team selection video for FPL Game Week 25. If you're brand new around here, make sure you go ahead and subscribe and don't forget to like the video as well. It'll take you 2 seconds to do. It's one of the best ways to support my channel, and let's aim for 20 likes on today's video. Straight in to the defense though, we're going to cover one of the main topics of the video straight off the bat for you guys. Do I have the best triple up of Arsenal players right now? What's the meta triple up to have for the double game week in Game Week 26, where Arsenal, of course, have 2 fixtures instead of just 1? An insanely powerful thing in FPL when you have double game week players, but I think you have to pick the correct ones. I normally do have a good history of picking well within double game weeks, having a few differentials, but I feel as though Arsenal assets are pretty evenly owned by a lot of FPL managers. Is this the best setup right here though? Triple Arsenal defense. There's a lot of talk online about it within FPL communities. I'm going to be dead honest here. I think with the news that Saka has what seems to be an injury that's going to keep him out for this match against Sunderland at home, my team, it could keep him out for the double game. I think with the news of that, puts Declan Rice as maybe my second favourite Arsenal asset now, maybe third, just behind Timber. I think Timber, Gabriel and Rice is probably the best triple up you can have of Arsenal players right now. For me, Declan Rice will take more free kicks, of course, has the corners on that left-hand side, has the ability to score defcons, get a goal, get an assist. I think the ceiling's quite high there for a double game week. So for me, he's definitely one to consider. Is my triple up a million times worse? No, I don't think so. I've owned triple Arsenal since, in the back line anyway, since game week 8. They've been outstanding for me in my FPL team. Absolutely brilliant. Gabriel especially, just what a beast, the best defender in the game. I am completely happy having this as my triple up for double game week 26. No problems whatsoever. But let me know in the comments, what's your Arsenal triple up for FPL game week 26? Are you even going to triple up on Arsenal, or are you just going to have a double? Let me know in the comments. We're going to carry on with the rest of the defense though. Anderson with Everton at home. I think it's a good fixture for him. I would absolutely love it if he came away with a clean sheet and defcons. It feels like one of them weeks where he definitely could do so. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, they're looking to get back into winning ways after that pretty awful ends to the United game, you could say, conceding really late on and of course losing the match after Kevin's absolute screamer, by the way. So yeah, hopefully Anderson can pull through for me this week. I'll be honest, I'm not too bothered if the Arsenal boys blank, as long as my team Sunderland do well. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, it's probably the hardest game Sunderland will have all season, which makes it a good fixture for the Arsenal boys. We'll look at the bench. Virgil van Dijk, Rodon, Dubravka. Everyone in this back line has a home fixture. If I need support, I can absolutely use it from the bench. However, I do think this is how I'm going to line up with my defence this game week. Surprise, surprise, Bruno Fernandes as captain. If you've watched my content before, you'll know I absolutely love this guy. And yes, he is the best FPL player you can get right now. He is hands down the best player in the game, in my opinion. I just think he's monstrous as an FPL asset, and of course captaincy falls on him this week with Spurs at home. I think it's going to be a really interesting game. If you watch Man City play Spurs last game week, Spurs had their moments within the fixture, and I think yes, they're doing terribly and everyone's laughing at them online, but I think looking at how they played against Man City last game week, I can see bits in there that could make United struggle. What I think the game will turn out to be is more of a basketball game. It's going to be backwards and forwards. I don't think there's going to be one team just dominating possession for the whole game. I think it's going to be a really great match, and I love Bruno Fernandes in this more advanced role. He's absolutely fantastic. Second for captaincy, though, is actually in the midfield on Enzo Fernandez. And this kind of has just come about. I did have advice earlier in the week, changed it to Haaland. Now it's back on Enzo Fernandez. And the reason for that is because Rossinha has said some things today about Cole Palmer, which just makes me think that maybe he could get a rest within this fixture. I can't quite put my finger on what to think about Palmer right now. I've owned Palmer for a while last season. Was it the season before? I can't remember when he started as a Chelsea asset, but remember when he was really cheap. I owned him from the start of there. He was absolutely amazing for him. I have fond memories of owning Cole Palmer, but right now he doesn't feel like an option. And it's a bit upsetting because I'd love to have him in my team. He's one of my favourite players in the Premier League, but right now, I honestly think Enzo provides so much more value. You know he's going to play. He could potentially play in that number 10 position if Palmer's out. If Palmer's out, he's on penalties instead of João Pedro. I think he's brilliant as well, Enzo Fernandez. And if Palmer is out this week, he could be my vice-captain on pens playing in that number 10 position. Szoboszlai could also feature as a number 10 against Manchester City at home. We of course know Frimpong is out. We've heard today that Gomez could step in and play in that position if needed, so I think that pushes Szoboszlai further up the pitch and hopefully gets more attack and returns against Manchester City. Anderson, a cheap player we brought in last game week who did extremely well for me. 3 bonus points, 2 DEFCON points, totaling up to 7 with us also getting past 60 minutes points. Unbelievable cheap asset right now. 5.3 million, I think he is. If you need a cheap player in FPL in the midfield, I think he's the one, in all honesty. I think he's absolutely excellent value. A midfielder we kind of need to touch on with this bit here is Tavernier on the bench. Red flagged. Haven't really heard anything recently about him coming back. Maybe holding on to him for that. And I think there's 2 decisions I can make here. I don't have the money currently to do anything extravagant with Tavernier. I just don't. So transferring him out this week, I mean, there's no one really I'm getting excited by. However, if I hold him, there is an opportunity when he comes back that he just plays straight away for my team because of how good Bournemouth's fixtures are for a long time. There's also an option where we just roll this week and then transfer him out in a double transfer next week, which could include potentially a Declan Rice, but maybe not. Maybe a Wolves midfielder with their double. It's really hard to say, but I think right now my heart's telling me just to keep a hold of him and see what happens. What news can we get about Tavernier to make that decision with my 1 free transfer? But that is how the midfield is set up this game week. Now, my forward line this week isn't looking as strong as the rest of the team. I will, of course, admit that, but I think there's a bit more of a conversation to be had about teams in FPL with this forward line. Of course, we'll cover them first. Evan Nielsen with Aston Villa at home, a difficult fixture, but I do feel as though Bournemouth score a lot of goals and concede a lot of goals, especially lately in the Premier League. I do really like Evan Nielsen, most likely on penalty still with Tavernier out. I think he's a great long-term option in FPL, and that's going to kind of subtly foreshadow what conversation we're about to have. Thiago, Newcastle away, Arsenal at home in the next 2 weeks. Hard fixture this week. He still absolutely could score on the fixture, but the long-term fixtures are excellent. Erling Haaland this week, not a great fixture. He's not in scoring form. The fixtures are coming, and I think he's a long-term option, of course, within our FPL teams. I think the conversation we all need to have with ourselves is we can't have the best team in the game every single week. It's impossible. Unless you take 1 million hits every week, use chips way too early, you will not have the most optimal team every single week. And I think that's the case with the forward line here. We are set perfectly for the long-term fixtures. Evan Nielsen's a great option. The long-term fixtures he has are absolutely brilliant. I mean, we can read some of them out. After Aston Villa, Everton, West Ham, Sunderland, Brentford, Burnley, Manchester United. They're really great fixtures. Thiago, if you watched yesterday's wildcard draft video, you know how much I like Brentford assets from 27 onwards. Brighton, Burnley, Bournemouth, Wolves, Leeds, Everton, Fulham, Manchester United, West Ham. That's about 8 weeks of great fixtures for Thiago. We go on to Erling Haaland. Of course, we know how good he is when he's on form. From 26, Fulham, Newcastle, Leeds, Forest, West Ham, then Chelsea. I think they're really good fixtures for Erling Haaland. So I think the conversation I'm trying to get across to you guys is, I think my team looks good this week, but it's not perfect, and I don't think it ever will be every single game week. So for those in my comments asking, oh, my team look crap this week, should I wildcard? And I'm looking at your team, I'm going, actually, it doesn't really look that bad. This is what I kind of mean. You can't have a perfect team every single week. So as an overall view of my plans this week and how I'm going to be lined up, this is the lineup. Transfers, I don't think I'm going to make one. I think I'll be rolling into the double game week to see if anything crazy happens. What if Timber gets injured? What if, I don't know, Raya gets injured and Kepa becomes... There's a million things that could happen in game week 25 ahead of a double, and I want to take full advantage of the double game week. Having the transfer available and having two within game week 26, I think will support me a lot with really optimizing for the chip. Potentially we get a Wolves player in just for their double game week, but right now, I think patience is key. We're taking this team into FPL Game Week 25, and I'm quite happy about it. Let me know what you think about my team in the comments, and of course, let me know what you're planning to do for FPL Game Week 25. Tomorrow is the FPL deadline, so do not miss it, but also do not miss my deadline stream starting tomorrow at 4:30 PM. I'll be answering your questions and showing my final team selection before the deadline hits. Of course, if you enjoyed this video today though, make sure you've dropped a like, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already for future FPL content and FPL streams. But that is everything for today's video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.